I would like to honor and commemorate my sincere, heartfelt thanks to those who plant the seed. In my case, my junior year English literature teacher at Creighton Prep in 1965, Mr. Tom Hall, who introduced me to the world of Black literature and the arts. In 2017, Mr. Jim Nelson, who both challenged me and introduced me to the video medium. I dedicate my works to you both. God bless you and your families. What's your story? There are reasons that each of us are born. Our quest to discover those reasons. There are two greatest days in our lives. The first, the day we are born. The second, the day we discover why. Sometimes a man, mature, attentive, never-ending, finds his destiny on a road he chooses not to walk upon. How far will a belief system go for complete dominion? This program is brought to you by these fine community partners. They are my life's blood. One. Sawadee. Good evening, and thank you for watching my program, Shut Up and Dance. This evening, along with what I call my New Horizons section, I'm going to be interviewing Mr. Mike Wallace, who is currently the station manager of Cox Channel 22 KPAO TV here in Omaha, Nebraska. Good evening, Mike, and how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show tonight.
Oh, thank you for agreeing to be interviewed by me. The first question I'd like to ask, could you give my audience a little overview of your duties and responsibilities here at Channel 22?
Here at the station? So I'm studio manager, but we have a team here. But my job basically is to work with people in the community that want to do a show. They have a message, they have a voice, like just what you do here. But I try to recruit people in the community to always add new shows. Mm-hmm. Some people come in, they have an idea of how to do it technically. Some people don't. Mm-hmm. So we train people how to produce a show, okay, how to put it together. We work with them to try to come up with a set, a backdrop. And then I personally actually direct a lot of the shows here. Mm-hmm. We've got a lot that are done by the producers, but I've got a handful here that I do every week. So I will direct the shows, okay, and then I'll go back and I'll edit and add graphics and all that. Mm-hmm. So I'm in here, 5 days a week, just producing shows for the channel.
Now, there's one thing I would like for you to repeat to my audience.
All right.
And that is, what kind of outreach do you do yourself specifically with regard to if someone has an idea for a TV show?
What kind of outreach?
Yes.
Well, I mean, we've got our website, we've got social media, which I'm trying to get more active with. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But a lot of it comes from, if there's a producer who's doing a show, they have a friend or they know somebody who also, and then we get phone calls of people saying, hey, I've got an idea to do a show. How do I do it? So, you know, I'll bring them in, we'll sit down, we'll talk, I'll show them the studio. And then, you know, so I'm always looking for new ways to, we've had open houses in the past, which we will continue to do. But a lot of it is just word of mouth of, hey, they've got a place where I've got a message that I can get out, and that's a good way to do it.
Well, that's the point that I was trying to make to my audience, is the fact that for long periods of time, even when I was a child coming up, we would always say, you know, well, you got to go someplace else to do this or do that or do the other. And my dream is the fact that here in Omaha, there are so many things readily available. And with regard to this medium and what you do here in your staff at Channel 22, the community should be well aware of it and whatnot. And that's why I asked you to repeat that again.
Sure.
Due to the fact that initially when I came out here, I was going to see about getting on a program. And now look, here I am going into my third season and whatnot. Where are you from?
I grew up in Council Bluffs, just across the river. Went to school over there, went to college at UNO.
Okay, okay.
Studied broadcasting. I started my career at cable in Council Bluffs. We were doing this kind of thing back in the early 80s, and we had a staff that actually worked for the cable company. Nowadays, most cable companies, they provide the studio space and all that, but the staff is separate from the cable operation itself.
Okay.
But so in early to mid 80s, I did this exact kind of thing. I wasn't always on camera, but I did that. Then I went out to Pennsylvania. I took a step up and I ran a local cable channel like this out in York, Pennsylvania for about 7-8 years. We did a tremendous amount of local programming. We did a lot of live sports. We did pretty much everything but news. We did talk shows, we did cooking, we did exercise, we did kids shows. And then after that, I spent about 20 years at broadcast affiliates. I moved back. I was out in Kearney, Nebraska. For 10 years, I ran the production department out there, but it was news. You know, it's the ABC affiliate out there. So we had, and then from there, moved back to Omaha, worked at Fox. And did, again, the same thing. We did, just typical affiliate stuff, not these kind of shows anymore, which I kind of missed. Then I got a job. I worked for a cable network called RFD TV, which is a nationwide network. The owner lives here locally. It's sort of an ag-based kind of network. So I went around the country and we did programming a lot with the FFA. We did a lot of things at state fairs and rodeos. One of the most exciting things we did the Tournament of Roses parade every year in Pasadena.
Oh, really?
And so we broadcast it live. So I was in charge of that broadcast. But then we also had a float in the parade.
Oh, no kidding?
So we were there for the week of New Year's every year. And we always had a big company party there, and we put roses in our float that were going to be in the parade. From that, that just became a little difficult to be on the road so much. So I got back and I worked at Channel 3 here in town. For about 4 years. Again, news promotion, station promotion. And about a little over a year and a half ago, I landed back here. So I'm back exactly where I started in 1983, and I'm doing the stuff that I loved doing when I started all this.
In the opening of my show, I have an expression. There are two greatest days in our lives. First, the day we are born, and second, the day we discover why. When did that happen for you?
It was interesting. When I was in high school, earlier in high school, I was going to be an art teacher. I wanted to be a high school art teacher.
Okay. Okay.
I took a lot of lessons, and I was good at portrait drawing and sketching. And somewhere around my senior year in high school, it all changed, and I thought, and I can't tell you the day, but I went, I'm going to go into television. And I started, I went into UNO for broadcasting, and I started as an internship when I was a freshman there, no, a sophomore there, and I started working at the local cable channel in Council Bluffs. So somewhere, I can't give you that lightning bolt day, but somewhere in the middle of my senior year in high school, I decided, you know, I want to try to do television. And back then, there was no internet or social media. People weren't doing things on their phones, or, I mean, it was very formal. If you wanted to be in television, you had to work in a TV studio, and you know.
Well, were there, you were in the Omaha area, are we speaking in the early,
Yeah.
in the,
Yeah.
because there were just basically 3 channels here in Omaha.
Right. When I got into the point of being able to work in it, Fox had just started.
Oh, okay.
And they
okay.
they weren't even Fox at that point. They were an independent.
Right.
It was just KPTM. And so that was a new opportunity. But, you know, it was a confined world. If you got into broadcasting then, either you worked for a TV station, or if you were, you know, there was ad agencies that were doing high-end stuff.
Right.
But you really had to have a lot of experience to jump into that. So anybody in broadcasting in the early 80s, they were just jumping at the TV stations, working in the studios, working the newscasts, being a field, you know, photographer for a field reporter. But, and then, you know, when the internet came in, it changed everything. And then everybody became a videographer, because you can do it on your phone.
Right,
and you
right,
can,
right.
And you can edit on your computer. Those kind of things back then, to be able to video edit, you couldn't do that because the equipment was so expensive. But now we live in a world where we have a studio like this and we produce these shows. But the importance of these being on social media are almost probably more important than being on Channel 22. I hate to say that, but this is our venue to do the show, but then everything we do also goes on social media. Everything goes to YouTube, everything. But that's true for all the, you know, ABC, CBS, all the networks, the big networks. So it just is continuing to change. It just gives people more access to what you do and what I do, which is great.
It presents a platform that originally started in a small space, and now, is there a space that we have not uncovered yet?
You know, I'm sure there's something out there.
I mean, with streaming, if you go through all the different ways that you can get to this platform,
right?
It is just.
I know, and it's amazing. You know, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, nobody would have even, maybe a few, wouldn't have even imagined of what it is now. I mean, cable was the big thing in the 70s and 80s.
Yes,
we went
yes,
from
yes.
3 channels to, you know, 100 channels. But
Well,
now,
when HBO, like when HBO
Exactly.
first came out, I mean, it was, do you have HBO? Do you have HBO?
Exactly.
And
you
now,
know, MTV.
yes,
You know,
yes,
so-
yes,
So think about, and that wasn't, you know, say that's 30 years ago. What's it going to be 30 years from now?
Well, to me, it's like being on an ocean liner, and the winds are about 5 to 8 knots, so you have a little white cap, and you just sail, because who knows what the next horizon is going to be, or
Exactly.
the next medium is going to be. Although it seems as though that we are becoming, globally, we are becoming closer and closer and closer, that neighbors, let's say in South America or Africa, it's like they can be right here.
Right.
I mean, we're at that
Exactly.
meeting point where we can actually do that, and it's just mind-boggling, you know.
As a kid, you probably remember this, and I remember this. The old Dick Tracy, he had his watch, and he could talk to people on his watch. And you buy a watch today, and you can talk to somebody, and you see them, and you're talking in real time on your watch.
To tell you a little story, I was working on a telecommunication project, in Asia. I was in Hong Kong. They were test marketing that when I was there,
Isn't that
which
crazy?
just it was mind-boggling to me. But our systems are not dissimilar. It is just that there are markets in which we can do a lot more with a lot less.
Right.
However, those particular markets are not readily available on the technology side here in the United States as opposed to Europe or Asia. It's just like when cell phones first came out, the big controversy, what was the standard going to be for broadcast? And
Right.
and they were trying to figure all that out. Well, they've got that figured out, but let me tell you, if you think that our system here in the United States is bonkers and all the way wild, you need to take a trip to Europe or Asia to see where their platforms are, because they are ahead. They are ahead, and as we always used to say, you can make a board that'll do 100 functions, and you sell it to an American company, and each function will cost you a dime. If you go to Europe or Asia, they just one price fits all, and you get all 100 functions.
Yep.
The next thing, what kind of advice would you give? I mean, now that we've got this broad base and whatnot, for someone who has an interest with regard to getting into television, the broadcast medium, because there are so many different layers, so many different levels that you can enter upon, and our educational system is such that it can support all of those levels with the programs that they have, for instance, at UNO and in Metro Tech, and whatnot. What kind of advice could you give someone who is interested?
You know, certainly the technology field is always going to grow and expand. I would go and talk to someone talk to us here, or go to Channel 7 or 6, and just try to get 10 minutes to talk to them about, what do they look like, what do they look for when they're looking to bring people into their company.
Okay.
Some places obviously are looking for that degree, whether it's an associate's degree or it's a bachelor's degree. We've worked here with students from UNO, from MCC. Iowa Western's got a great program. Last year we had Creighton students, their TV 101, were in this studio doing learning stuff, every week. There's a lot of opportunities to get formal learning, and I think that would be a solid step. It just depends on you and your budget and what you could do. But I would definitely say go have a conversation with someone, at a station or at UNO, at MCC, and just say, what do they see as the horizon, because they work in it every day. And what is a good path to get there? Some people have natural talents. YouTube can make you a hero overnight, and has done that for countless performers and other people. And the beauty of getting into this today, as opposed to when I started 30 some years ago, the basic equipment is very affordable.
Yes.
You can shoot everything on your phone, and it's 4K, and it looks nice, and you can edit on your phone, and it's acceptable. So it's not a barrier of equipment to do it.
Right.
I would say get out there and play with, your phone, your equipment. Like here, we check out cameras that people can take out and do programming with. But get a feel for that, and then if it's something that really is ingrained in you, a little formal training certainly wouldn't hurt, because there's a lot of, between the universities and the colleges around here, there's a lot of great programs. And even a two-year degree will give you enough training that you could jump in somewhere. And then, in this I've always found in this industry, it's what you've created. You don't have to have a big long resume tape, but if you've got a couple of things that are creative that you've done, that will hopefully open doors for you. And there's 100 doors in Omaha right now where there used to be 3.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of agencies, there's a lot of companies that shoot their own stuff. You know, it may just be corporate videos or commercials. It just depends on what you want to do. And, you know, we work with the Omaha Film Festival, or we've kind of helped partner with them a little bit, and I hope to do more of that. But they have every year a film challenge where you've got 48 hours to do a local film. They'll give you some parameters, and then they show all those. So it's a way that if you just want to do something and have fun with it, you create a little short film, and then they have a big celebration, and they show all those in front of an audience. You know, and that is what is really wide open nowadays, the fact that you can create anything and put it on social media, and you could have 5 people see it, or you can have 1 million people see it.
Yes.
And it doesn't cost you anything. It used to be if you wanted to make something and distribute it, the distribution was the hook.
Yeah.
How do you do it? Who's gonna show it? Now you can send it off on your phone.
Yes. Yes. And
you know,
be viewed by the world.
If it's a kitten, by gosh,
yeah, by gosh, you'll get there real quick. What, Mike, do you see as the immediate future, and then projecting then on, if you were to have a vision? Because I know with your experience and your expertise, there are things that you see, that you're aware of, that you see that, well, I think we're going to be moving in this direction, but we can also move in this direction or this direction.
Yeah, you know, I see the opportunities, just the information or the entertainment aspect of video. It has become just every man's commodity. It's not, you don't have to be at a station or on a team to make something that catches people's eyes. So I think that's just going to simply grow, because people are doing their own home videos. You know, everything's going social. I worked at the affiliates, and it's as important for Channel 6, 7, and 3 to have their message on social media as fast as possible as it is on their broadcast channels.
Right.
So ultimately everything's going there, and I wish I had that. I mean, today I think the growth is that there's 1 million users out there that are all making content. It used to be you had to be a TV director or a movie producer. Or,
right. You had to have the technical or educational expertise in order
if
to.
You've got a passion for a story, a message, and you've got even the most rudimentary way to record it, whether it's a phone or a small camera, and cameras have come down in price so much now.
Oh yeah.
You know, for a good quality camera. I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but what I see right now is that exponentially more people will just get their messages out individually. Where it's going to be in 5 and 10 years, I think it's just the delivery is going to be so much different. I mean, obviously now you can watch it on your phone, on your laptop. I mean, your refrigerator talks to the internet now.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I didn't want to go there, but
you know what I'm saying? Who knows? You know, cars are going to be autonomous here at some point.
They've already started with it.
But I mean,
fully blown automated cars already.
But I know the Google cars. The Google Map has been doing it for years. But at some point here in the near future, a good percentage of the cars on the road are all going to be just doing their own thing. Somebody's going to tie into that. If you don't have to look where you're driving, guess what? You can watch on your, you know.
Oh yeah.
So there'll be a car channel. You know, but it's just exponentially. The more things that open, they open other things, and it's crazy. So any story you have to tell, any message you want to get out there, there are countless ways to get it out. And that's the beauty of today. You're not limited to, I don't have a way to get my voice out there. Now it's, which way do I want to do it?
Yeah. How do I want to do it, and to
Exactly.
what intensity do I want to do it? Because you can start small and then blossom
Right.
in an instant,
Right.
which is the beauty of the internet.
Oh yeah, it's, and I will be amazed at what's, eventually they'll just put a chip in your forehead and you'll just watch TV in your head.
They're already doing that in some sectors and whatnot. Well, listen, Mike, I want to thank you for giving me your time and telling your story. And to my audience, I just want to interject. There is nothing that you cannot accomplish. What the mind can conceive, you can achieve. Good evening. Sawatika. How have we come to believe? Nebraska, we are more than agriculture. Nebraska, we are more than beef. Nebraska, we are more than football. Nebraska, the good life. Come, read us. And I want to thank each and every one of you for viewing my program, and most importantly and especially, my sponsors who are my life's blood.